Back to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. And thank y'all so much for stopping by again today. Don't come to the Philippines if I want to talk about some things that, as I see it, that affect our overall results when we come over here. Bad judgment and bad decision making are the two major things that destroy our vacations and our retirements over here. You know, men think, oh, it's easy to move overseas, 8,000 miles away. I see Sunshine Shoulders doing it. I can do it. So if you have one or a combination of these things I'm going to talk about, I would say take care of these first before you get over here, because it's going to cloud your judgment and your decision making. You have to be sharp over here. You have to be better here than you do over there. Think back after watching this video to all the horror stories you've heard. And it's going to be right in line with what I'm talking about today. It's going to have a lot to do with bad decision making and bad judgment. I just looked up, does attractive women affect a man's judgment and decision making? Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. This is like a dull moment. You should know that, but I don't think we really realize that. There's something called a halo effect. When you see an attractive woman, you automatically attribute other great characteristics to her without ever even knowing her. And you're probably wrong. You know, you're sitting there, you're chatting with the young, attractive woman, and all of a sudden now she can be trusted. She comes from a good family. You're just assuming all this without even knowing her. So yeah, you send the money or whatever it is. You make the commitment or whatever it is. But another thing about attractive women that affects our decision making and judgment is men behave differently around attractive women. I mean, you got to be honest. This stuff's not going to make any sense to you if you can't be honest with yourself. You know that you act differently. Your behavior is totally different around an attractive woman than it is just a regular woman. You make riskier, more irrational decisions when you're around attractive women. So with all that being said, these three things are going to all coincide with coming over here, because obviously there's millions and millions of attractive women. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is, if you haven't had sex or intimacy in a long time, don't come over here, because it's going to cloud your judgment and it's going to impair your decision making. Two important things you need to succeed over here. Why you say that, Cal? Well, I consulted with the experts. When your testosterone fluctuates like that from a lack of sexual activity and intimacy, it affects your mood, which affects your judgment and your decision making. Your stress levels are off the roof. Increased stress from a lack of sexual activity affects your decision making, ladies and gentlemen, and your judgment. It affects your overall performance as a human being. But don't believe me, look this up yourself. I already knew it. I just started looking back on all the horror stories I've ever told, that I've ever heard. And it's always bad judgment and bad decision making. So what do you mean if I haven't had it in a long time? I'm going to say 3 months and over. If you've been without the pushy, the booty, the tune-up, whatever you want to call it, for an extended period of time, man, get that taken care of before you come over here. You may not have a chance. Okay? This is the fourth quarter. We want to live our best lives. And without that, guys, okay, it's going to affect you. Financial stress, when you come over here and you know you don't have enough money. That's why you ask. If you have to ask, do you have enough money to retire in the Philippines? You probably don't. Or do you have enough money to come over here on vacation? You probably don't. Financial stress is going to lead to anxiety, which is going to, you got it, affect your judgment, affect your decision making. You're not going to be going anywhere. You penny pinching over here, peso pinching, counting pesos. You're not going to be able to enjoy the best that the Philippines has to offer. This is what gets me, when you listen to these negative vlogs about the Philippines. I'm saying to myself, who just sits around that negative stuff like that? Okay, every country I've been to has its bad. There's nothing over here, there's nothing I've seen over here that I haven't seen anywhere. And I've been around the world. Okay? But who's going to just, hang around that all the time? Okay? Because you got money, you can go to Boracay, you can go to the nice places. You can build you a house and create the life that you've always wanted to live. But without no money, if your pockets is on fumes, man, you're going to be stressed, guys. Okay, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't come over here till my money was right. Well, how much money I need? Well, how much money can you afford? That's how I always give, the suggestions I always give to the new man. Because there's only one first time coming to the Philippines. So stay as long as you can and bring as much money as you can afford. But if you have to ask, can I afford to live over in the Philippines? You probably can, and you know that. But I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to talk about if you're out of shape, don't come over here. One consequence of being out of shape and being in poor health is you're fatigued all the time. The Philippines, look at this beautiful weather. This encourages activity. This encourages you to get outdoors and walk, because you're going to do more walking over here than you ever did before. You're not going to be able to take care of number one if you're out of shape, if you got poor health. The number one thing I talked about, even if the woman's sitting there and say, hey, you can have it anytime you want it, you can't enjoy it. You're not going to be able to enjoy this place because you're always going to be sitting down somewhere, probably contributing to more poor health and fatigue. So if you're out of shape, I wouldn't come over here. So if you got any of these things, or a combination of any of them, get them together first before you come over here, because it's going to affect your judgment and your decision making, which always leads to disaster here. There's not one horror story, none, zero, that you can't trace back to bad judgment and poor decision making. So thank y'all so much for stopping by. I talk about real life stuff over here. Nobody comes all the way over here to fail. No one comes all the way over here. You're taking a risk. I know you're looking, you think it's easy. Oh, these guys can do it. Look at all these old vloggers over there, these old expats. If they can do it, I can do it. We try to give you our experiences. But I can tell you right now, it's not easy. You better be sharp when you come over here. Yeah, you better sharpen that edge. Okay? Steel sharpens steel. You've heard that before, right? But y'all don't listen to us. Y'all think we just be on here yapping. You have to be better in the Philippines than you are at home. Most of the things at home are taken care of for me. I don't have to worry about the stuff that I have to worry about over here. If something was to go wrong, I just call a lift and go to the hospital, or let the ambulance come and get me. A real ambulance with medical equipment and, trained technicians, not just basically a hospital taxi. So if you're in America, if you're in the Philippines, wherever you are, find your heart to help somebody. Not a day goes by that I don't help somebody. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. We help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay out of trouble. I'll see you next time. Don't do anything stupid. Don't come over here if you're on a dry spell. Okay? If you haven't had the pushy, the booty, the tune-up, whatever you want to call it, for 3 months or more, and you're thirsty as hell. Because your testosterone is going to be fluctuating up and down. Your stress levels are going to be off the roof. It's going to impair your judgment and your decision making. If you have to ask, oh, can I afford to live in the Philippines? You probably can. Do I have enough money? You probably don't. This doesn't discourage you from coming over here. Get your money together. Save up your money. Because if you're over here, peso pinching, waiting for the next shoe to drop, you're not going to be able to enjoy the best that the Philippines has to offer. Get in shape, man. You're never too old to get in shape. You guys come over here, you look like a piece of shit, a lot of you. I'm just going to say it. You know, because you're not going to tell yourself that. You're in denial. And then you come over here and wonder why you have all the problems you have. It's all up here, guys. The body is simply intricate transportation mode to carry around this magnificent mind of yours. Without your good judgment and good decision making, you don't have a chance over here. You're too far from home to take those kind of risks, guys. The meet and greet is tomorrow. Everybody's invited. You don't need an invitation to come. Right here in St. Carlos City, Carmel's Inn and Restaurant. I believe we sold out all the rooms, but there's other hotels here. Mawani Hotel, the Palau Hotel, the Bella Dama Hotel. You can book a room there. Food, fun, live entertainment, karaoke if you want to sing it. If you want to sing. You can go swimming if you want. Great people, great conversations. This is needed over here. See, my legacy is not going to be these vlogs. My legacy is eventually going to be an expat resource center. Okay, and that's all these meet and greets are, just tiny expat resource centers. But we have good conversation, we share information, we be around each other. Okay, so take care, y'all. Come on out tomorrow. You're invited.